For over 50 years, Dolly Parton has been a worldwide star, lighting up stages and making people fall in love everywhere she goes. But her husband Carl Dean has stayed out of the spotlight despite all the attention. Carl has avoided the attention his whole life and has kept his marriage to Dolly a secret. Fans have been interested in the man Dolly calls her rock for decades. Carl Dean has finally chosen to speak out after all these years. So what's the real story behind their love that won't go away? Also, why is Carl telling his story now? Let's hear what Carl has to say about his relationship with Dolly. Her job is one of those things that seems almost too good to be true. But it is. She's lived every moment with a smile and a wink. You're only getting to know her as the fancy woman with big hair and a big personality. She went from being poor in the mountains to being a worldwide star, a business mogul, and let's face it, a national gem. She's done all of this while being herself without any shame. Dolly was born in 1946 in a small Tennessee mountain town. She was the fourth of 12 children. Could you picture 12 kids? Why else would Dolly start singing so young? Perhaps she had to play a song to get some attention for a short time. There wasn't much money in her family, but they had music and love. It was all around Dolly as a child, especially at church. It's not a surprise that church and mountain music became big parts of her style. Dolly didn't wait to follow her dreams after high school. The day after high school, she packed up and went to Nashville. And like most big stars, her early years weren't too exciting. She had to work hard. In the late 1960s, she got her big break when she joined the Porter Wagoner show. At that time, Porter Wagoner was a big country star, and Dolly was his duet partner on the show. She became well known because of this gig. It helped her get better at writing songs and performing on stage. But Dolly wasn't happy being someone else's star forever. She was Dolly. She wrote "I Will Always Love You" as a kind of musical breakup letter to Porter when she chose to go out on her own in 1974. That's right. When she's ready to move on, Dolly doesn't just text or ghost someone. She writes timeless works of art. Even though Whitney Houston made the song even more well-known by singing it, Dolly's original is still the best. Dolly took off like a rocket after that. Hit songs like Jolene Coat of Many Colors and 9 to 5 were popular in the 1970s and 1980s. And all of these songs, like Take Coat of Many Colors, have that special something that only Dolly can do: sincere real-life stories that people can relate to. It's about how her mom made her a coat out of fabric scraps since they couldn't afford a new one. Dolly was proud to wear that coat because it was made with love, so she didn't feel bad about it. One thing that makes Dolly unique is that she doesn't let anyone tell her she can only be a country star. She's great at country music, but she also sings pop, church, and even bluegrass. The song 9 to 5 from the movie she was in became a rallying cry for all women who work. It's catchy and fun, and it also means something real. That's something Dolly has always been able to do. Dolly didn't just make hit songs either. She also made films. The movie Steel Magnolias and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, in which she starred, also brought her a lot of attention. What other person could write songs about broken hearts and then star in comedies? Just Dolly. Yes, she does have the right amount of sass, humor, and warmth to light up the screen. Also, her laugh spreads joy. You might want to check your heart rate if you don't smile when Dolly laughs. Dolly even opened Dollywood in the mid-1980s, just when you thought she had done everything. It's a Tennessee amusement park. It is as much fun as you think it would be. But Dollywood is more than just rides and country music shows. There are now thousands of jobs in the park, which is good for the area where Dolly grew up. Setting up the Imagination Library is one of the nicest things Dolly has ever done. At first, it was just a project in her neighborhood to give kids free books, and is now an international program that gives millions of books to kids all over the world. She says that school is the key to a better future a lot of the time. She also helps kids dream big, just like she did through the Imagination Library. Also, don't think Dolly was done yet. When COVID-19 broke out, Dolly didn't do nothing. She gave $1 million to help pay for studies into vaccines, which helped make the Moderna vaccine possible in the end. The fact that Dolly is a good woman is pretty clear, but what caused the rumors about her love life and relationship? Are the stories true? Why did the people around her say those things? What did her husband finally say? Only one way to find out: watch on. Carl was a mystery for many years, and fans were left guessing who he was. And what helped them stay together so long? Carl has finally chosen to speak out after more than 50 years of silence. Who is Carl Dean really? This man who has been happy to stay out of the way while Dolly built a fortune. Carl was born in Nashville, Tennessee on July 20th, 1942. He's always kept a low profile. Carl has never been into being the center of attention, not even when he was young. Carl was working on something totally different while Dolly was building her music business. He was in charge of his own asphalt filling business. It's very different from Dolly's fancy life, but that's what makes their friendship so interesting. Carl has always been a humble, hard-working man who has put his privacy ahead of fame. It's a very sweet and easy story how Carl and Dolly met. The year was 1964. Dolly had just come to Nashville to start her career as a singer. Carl pulled up in his pickup truck and saw her when she was 18. She was outside of a laundry. Dolly said that Carl leaned out the window and looked at her. That was all it took, she said. After a short time of dating, they became friends. In 1966, just 2 years after that, they got married in Ringgold, Georgia, in a small, private wedding. It wasn't at all like the big weddings of famous people we see these days. They were the only ones there, Dolly's mom and the priest. There were no lights or cameras. This is where things get interesting. Carl knew early on that he didn't want to be in the public eye, but Dolly's career took off and she became famous. He stuck to that choice for more than 50 years. He doesn't go to public events with Dolly very often. Carl doesn't show up in public very often, in fact. For a long time, some fans joked that he didn't even exist. But Dolly has always been honest about the fact that Carl doesn't like being famous. She jokes that Carl would rather go to the doctor than a red carpet event a lot of the time. He is a private, quiet man who loves keeping things easy. Carl has always been Dolly's biggest fan, even though he stays out of the spotlight. Carl has been happy running his business and having a quiet life at home while she's out there catching people all over the world. The news has been interested in Carl for years, always wondering why someone married to such a famous person would want to keep their life so private. Carl, on the other hand, never wanted to be famous. People who know Dolly say that Carl's quiet presence has made her life more stable, making her feel grounded as her fame went up and down. Carl recently thought it was time to speak out after decades of silence. This has made a lot of people wonder, why now? What made Carl finally talk about his friendship with Dolly after all these years? Carl said in an interview that he thought it was time to tell his side of the story. Their marriage has become an important part of Dolly's public image over the years. Carl also wanted to clear the air about his life, which has been quiet while Dolly has become famous. Carl's talk wasn't meant to clear up rumors or get more attention, though. Instead, it was a celebration of the love and friendship he has had with Dolly for more than 50 years. Carl himself said, "I've always been amazed by her talent and her heart. Everywhere she goes, she makes the room brighter, and it's been great to be there for her." Carl has always liked having a more peaceful life, but he's very proud of Dolly for all that she's done. His pride comes from seeing Dolly's success, even though he's never been the type to want to be the center of attention. The key to their long-term marriage is something Carl talked about in his conversation. Carl thinks that the key is in the little things. They've always found time for each other, even though Dolly has a very busy job. Carl said that they often go on road trips together, just the two of them, with no set goal. They stay close because of these simple times together, away from everyone else. Their marriage isn't based on the usual celebrity life, that much is clear. People in it respect each other, laugh together, and find happiness in the little things in life. Carl also said that humor is a big part of their friendship. Carl and Dolly can still make each other laugh all these years. This is something Dolly has said many times in interviews. Carl is one of the funniest people she knows. They've always found a way to keep things fun, even when things got tough, which has helped them get through the good and bad times of marriage and fame. Some people have said that they are dating, but that's not true. Over the years, tabloids have made guesses about their marriage, with some even saying they were split in secret. The latest things Carl said, however, have put an end to those rumors. He said that faith and loyalty have always been important in their marriage. In spite of all the stress that comes with Dolly's fame, Carl and Dolly have always been devoted to each other. The rumors have always been laughed off by Dolly. One time she joked that Carl had a fake twin brother she was having an affair with, so the media would never find him. One of the most interesting things Carl said in the talk was how he saw Dolly's public image. The rest of the world sees Dolly as beautiful and larger than life, but Carl has always liked the more laid-back, at-home version of her. "This is the Dolly I love the most when we're at home," he said. She's in sweats or a robe. Carl only knows her as Dolly, not as the famous country music singer or movie star. Just like Carl fell in love with Dolly all those years ago, she is still the same girl from Tennessee behind all the fame. We now know what Carl Dean, Dolly Parton's husband, said about the rumors. Let's talk about the tattoos and why they were said to be their dot. A lot of people have wondered over the years if Dolly Parton has tattoos. The fact that she often wears clothes with long arms or high necks has led to a lot of different rumors. It seems like she might be hiding a lot of tattoos on her body, but what is it really like? Actually, Dolly has talked about this in a few talks. Also, she does have tattoos. Not in the way that most people think. It's not like she's wearing big, flashy clothes the whole time. In fact, her tattoos are very small and not obvious. They are also very important to her. She said that many of them are light, fluffy, and delicate, and that they're mostly there to hide scars or marks from medical treatments. Dolly made those scars look nice instead of letting them worry her. It makes sense to her that she's even said that she has a few butterflies. You already know how much Dolly loves butterflies. They're her thing. She has also made hints about flowers and other small messages that are important to her. Dolly has come up with creative ways to show who she is, like with her tattoos. But she has talked about one part of her life with a little sadness, not having kids. She's been honest about this choice over the years. She says that she sometimes feels bad that she didn't become a mother, even though her job has brought her a lot of happiness. At one point, Dolly and Carl Dean, her husband, did think about having children. But after some health problems, like having a hysterectomy in the 1980s, she didn't start a family. Dolly has been honest and talks about the fact that she does think about what her life would be like now if she had been a mother. She's okay with it, though. She's even said that not having kids gave her more time to focus on her job and find other ways to make a difference in people's lives, like through her music, her charity work, or her close relationships with her godchildren, nieces, nephews, and cousins. Dolly found many ways to show the world how much she loved being a mother. Her kindness and warmth are well known, and many people, even those who aren't her children, see her as a mother figure. She really loves her Dream Library program, which gives free books to millions of kids around the world. Dolly often says that even though she didn't have kids of her own, she's helped raise, guide, and inspire a lot of other people. So yes, she has thought about what could have been and had times of reflection, but being Dolly, she turned it into something good by finding other ways to help others and leave her mark on the world. Sure, most of you have heard one of Jolene's best songs. But did you know that song has a big story behind it? Let's do it. Dolly Parton's song Jolene has a story that is just as interesting as the song itself. You may have thought about who Jolene is and why she wants Dolly's man if you've ever hummed those words. Okay, let me explain. Some parts of the story are sweet and some are a little mean. To begin, the name Jolene came from a very cute meeting. It was at an autograph signing that Dolly met a little girl with the most beautiful red hair and green eyes. There was a girl whose name Dolly knew she had to use in a song as soon as she told her. Really, who could blame her? That name sounds like it's singing. The name may have come from that little girl, though. But what really made the song come to life was something much more emotional and a bit spicier. A long time ago, there was a woman who worked at a nearby bank who became too close with Carl Dean, Dolly's husband. You already know that Carl is the most private person ever. Dolly is out there shining in sequins, but Carl is happy living a quiet life away from the attention. This bank worker seemed to not care about that, though, because she was flirting with him all the time. So much did the woman play with Carl, Dolly said, that she couldn't help but notice. Carl, of course, thought it was all very funny. Dolly? Not really. Did Dolly talk to this woman? Not at all. Instead, she did what any famous singer-songwriter would do. She sang. It became a hit song for her. That's a good thing she did, because Jolene came from her real-life feelings of hate and fear. It's in the song that the narrator begs Jolene not to take her man. He or she knows how beautiful Jolene is but doesn't know how to stop her. Dolly wrote lines like, "Your beauty is beyond compare and I cannot compete with you." Jolene, that perfectly describe how we all feel when we think someone might take the person we love away from us. But now it gets funny. Carl and Dolly's marriage has been strong for a long time. For more than 50 years. It's clear that Dolly didn't have much to worry about back then, even though she was a little jealous. Anyway, the song touches on a feeling that is very real and easy to understand. It doesn't matter how safe you feel in your relationship, sometimes those little waves of doubt come in. Dolly was able to get through it by writing Jane. She didn't let it stew. Instead, she made it into a beautiful song that we all still sing today. Let's talk about how Dolly deals with everything in the song. She doesn't attack or blame Jolene. Instead, she shows a lot more compassion. The person singing the song actually likes how pretty and strong Jolene is and tells her to be kind instead of angry. Dolly once said that she didn't want Jolene to become a bad person by letting her know how powerful she was. That's a really grown-up and fresh take on the song, especially since it's about jealousy. Most of us would be ready to fight, but Dolly, she made it into a plea for him to understand. Many acts, from the White Stripes to Miley Cyrus, have covered Jolene since it came out. As different versions come out, none of them can quite match the raw feeling of Dolly's original. That the song has touched so many people from different types of music shows how beautiful it is. Also, let's be honest, it's likely one of the best songs to listen to in the car when you're feeling down.